There are many cursed objects that exist in this world. Haunted dolls, cursed paintings, evil chairs. But these objects pale in comparison to the dark presence that reside in Sonichu medallions. In this video we're going to be looking at what a Sonichu medallion is, who Chris-chan is, and the lives of all the people that have been ruined because they decided to put one of these medallions on. But first, what are Sonichu medallions? And who is Chris-chan? Chris-chan, also known as Christian Weston Chandler, is probably one of, if not the most famous and longest lasting lolcows. Chris-chan is the mayor of Quickville, a fantasy land that he created for a school project and the basis for most of his delusions. He was picked up by message boards in the early 2000s, and because of his eccentric and awkward outgoings, he became the target of trolls and stalkers, which ultimately led to him having an incestuous relationship with his own mother. Yeah, it's a very long story, filled with characters just as disgusting as Chris. Even in the very first sightings of Chris at the tabletop game store, Chris was seen with his custom-made Crayola model magic clay medallion. This is the original Sonichu medallion, and may I say, as controversial as it is, the medallion is pretty well made and looks kind of cool. I mean, tell me with a straight face that in this image, he doesn't have that shit on. The medallion depicts his original character. Well, the term original is used loosely because it's a combination of the Sonic and Pikachu characters which are combined. Sonichu's creation is detailed in episode 1 of the Sonichu comic web series. There's also Rose-Chu and other characters, some of which he falls in love with and deludes himself into believing that they are magic and able to influence this world. You can actually see the level of delusion when, during his arrest in 2021, he tells the officers of these other interdimensional characters in the room.
Is there anybody else in the room?
Wait, check.
Spirit, well, interdimensionally, you can't tangibly see them.
That arrest video is hilarious and has some actual gems in it. Just take a look.
Box.
Yeah, I got a cell phone right here.
Oh, that's my secondary phone.
That's your secondary phone?
Yeah, I have two phones, one for the trolls and one for my home. I got two phones, one for the boys and one for my friends. You think I need two phones? There's a song.
Yeah, Kevin Gates.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris has made multiple versions or marks of these medallions. Mark 1 was the original and was given to the troll Bianca, who was posing as a love interest in order to get the medallion, and so was lost to Chris. Mark 2 was destroyed when another troll named Max coerced Chris into cutting it into pieces and shoving them up his arse, which he later confirmed did actually go up his arse and had to be excreted out, because of speculation that it didn't actually go up all the way. Mark 3 was created shortly after Mark 2 and was destroyed when he dropped it at a card game shop, which leaves Mark 4, which Chris is currently in possession of. It has survived the longest and is now faded and grimy because he never takes it off, not even to shower. If it truly is the case that he never takes it off, then that means he must have also worn it when he, with his mother. Let's not even go there. These are the original Chris-chan Sonichu medallions, but Chris in 2014 announced that he would be selling replicas of the Sonichu medallion for only $30, which is pretty cheap for what you're getting. Hundreds of medallions were sold and they've made their way into all sorts of places, and into the hands of multiple different people. Now, we're going to talk about some of these people and how those medallions ended up ruining their lives. I think because it's recent, we should start with Some Ordinary Gamers, who in July of last year was pictured wearing a Sonichu medallion. Some Ordinary Gamers, also known as Mutaha, makes generic commentary videos on YouTube and has a decent following. His content used to be focused around diving into the deep web, which was supposedly good, but I've never watched him, so I can't confirm. Shortly after putting on the medallion, Mutaha was caught up in a scandal in late 2024, which involved the co-host of his podcast, Nuxtaku, over allegations of watching Loli together in a Discord call. In response, Mutaha released a nearly 40-minute long apology video with arguably one of the best YouTube apology titles ever, Post Nux Clarity. Genius. Anyway, this whole scandal caused Mutaha to immediately drop Nuxtaku and end their podcast prematurely. Mutaha threw Nuxtaku under the bus and tried to get ahead of the whole thing, but In the end, it was a major nothing burger, and his reaction actually got him more flack than the actual controversy. Around this time, Mutahar also quit Twitter because people kept commenting that he's Indian on his posts, / saying that he's going to get deported. Which, I guess, would be fair, if Mutahar himself didn't say that in his free time he liked watching cartel beheading videos. Yeah.
Look, I watch cartel death footage on Reddit all the time, okay? It's fucking
That's
weird.
healthy.
No, it's weird, Caleb. My
It's
psychologist
healthy.
has
And I
said it's
recommend
weird.
it. I recommend it.
Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, I admit it's a little out there. But hey, I admit that. I know I'm watching shit that's ultra violent.
Personally, I think that if you're able to watch people die in the most horrifying ways as a sick pastime, then crying at the occasional Indian poo joke is ridiculous. This actually perfectly segues into the next Some Ordinary Gamer section, as just recently he was embroiled in a controversy that he has lied about his engineering credentials for over 10 years. It led to the creation of this video, which honestly is one of the funniest thumbnails that I've seen in quite a while. Liar, fraud, Indian. Twitter users were quick to point out that liar and fraud were redundant because Indian encompasses both of those features. Anyway, the whole controversy started because of the expose video by Nick Andros, which is actually pretty good, and the allegations seem legit. You might be wondering, why is Mutahar lying about being an engineer even a big deal? Well, in Canada where he lives, it's actually illegal to claim to be an engineer, as it's a legally protected title. Kinda similar to saying that you're a medical doctor. One commentary YouTuber by the name of Harmful Opinions actually reported him to the Professional Engineers of Ontario, and they are looking into the case, asking for proof that he lives in Canada. To clarify, Mutahar has no computer engineering degree, only taking it for one semester before dropping out. Harmful Opinions has since posted an update of an email he received in response, stating that the Canadian Enforcement Office doesn't consider this misuse, and states his recent apology video sufficient for them. Personally, I don't condone snitching to the government for any reason, so this is probably the best case scenario. Now, do I think that this is the end of Some Ordinary Gamers? Yeah, probably not, and I don't think it should be. That being said, it's only been a year since he put on the medallion, and it took a long time before the medallion's effects worked on iDubbbz, so who knows, maybe next year something even more egregious than being Indian will come out. I also postscript want to add that Indians have a reputation for lying about their credentials, especially in tech, which I think is partly why this is such a big deal and became a controversy in itself. Also because it's pretty funny. The next victim of the Sonichu medallion curse that we're going to be looking at is iDubbbz, probably the most infamous of all the cases of the Sonichu medallion. iDubbbz used to be one of the most beloved commentary figures on YouTube. His content cop used to be career-ending, and his reign continued for quite a while. I often think of the old days and the Filthy Frank era. Truly a time gone by. Anyway, in one of iDubbbz's bad unboxing videos, a viewer sent him a custom-made Sonichu medallion. This was 9 years ago, so it took quite a while for the effect of this medallion to kick in, and maybe the reason why it took so long for the effects to take hold was because it was fan-made and not a Chris Chan original, but the medallion did come to collect. I think iDubbbz's downfall really started in 2020 with the announcement of his then-girlfriend, soon-to-be wife's OnlyFans, and his support of said business venture, which was contrary to the type of personality he had built his entire brand and channel on, which was a shock to his fanbase. He made a video doubling down and basically telling his fans to kick rocks and idolize someone else. iDubbbz then, in an attempt to distance himself from his old community, decided to interview Sam Hyde, another online personality, in an attempt to discredit him in early 2021. But Sam realized this and created an elaborate prank to turn iDubbbz's expose into a massive joke. Sam then released his own The Truth About iDubbbz video and confirmed that it was all an elaborate joke, with a Google Docs sheet of all the different ways that they were going to troll iDubbbz. This attempted distancing of himself from the alt-right would foreshadow what was to come later on. precipitating in May 2023 when he released his I Miss the Old iDubbbz video, where he admits to having trolls remorse and denounces his past actions as being harmful and racist, etc. Which was not well received. I think this comment on the video probably sums it up best. iDubbbz is the only person on the internet who didn't get cancelled for being racist and got cancelled for not being racist. The video has him apologize to the people that he made fun of in his content cops and for the slurs that he used to use. To me, it kinda seemed like beating a dead horse. People seem to forget that YouTube, for the most part, isn't really real. All the drama, the slop, whatever, it's all just noise and entertainment to fill the void. He could have just as easily, gracefully moved on, just like Filthy Frank or Max Mofo, who were massively a part of the 2016 YouTube scene as well, and were creating very similar content, sometimes even in the same videos, but who didn't feel the need to virtue signal their disdain for what they used to be. There's also his creator clashes, which are just full of controversy and gossip, but it's all too annoying and terminally online for me to really care, I'll be honest. And they aren't really all that interesting anyway. The current H3 situation probably warrants a video on its own, not just a passing remark, so I'll just say that I think that everyone involved in that situation should just... Anyway, the last and probably the biggest victim of the Sonichu medallion is Nick Rakita. Nick runs his channel Rakita Law, and he did pretty well for himself, becoming one of the larger law-related YouTube channels. A lot of that success is attributed to his coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard court case, and for Nick it was all going so well, which was until in October of 2023, in a live stream where out of the blue he pulls out a replica Sonichu medallion from a package that was given to him, along with a note that said, "A new host has been chosen." Shortly after putting on the medallion, Nick would appear more and more intoxicated on stream and began displaying erratic behavior, shall we call it, including an incident where he allegedly was receiving dome under the table by his wife's friend. Yeah, although Nick was a lawyer, you're gonna have a hard time trying to defend that. This abuse of substances and alcohol continued into mid-2024, when in May, Nick, his wife, and his wife's friend were all arrested during a police raid on his home. At the house, they found copious amounts of drugs and drug paraphernalia, which led to drug possession, firearm possession by a controlled substance user, and child endangerment charges to be placed against Nick. They also tested Nick's children, and at least one of them was found to have tested positive for cocaine, which led to child welfare taking all the children and putting them into care. So, you know, it's a bit of a step up from just the normal cancelling or falling off of the previous medallion wearers. Nick accepted a plea deal in which he would only face third-degree drug possession charges, and the remaining were dropped. He was sentenced in April 2025 and faced 30 days in jail and a 5-year probation period, which includes random drug tests and 80 hours of community service. He's also likely to never to return as a lawyer because of the drug possession charges. Nick still posts on his channel today and so far seems to be upholding the court sentencing and is doing pretty alright for himself. And all I can say to that is, I wish him all the best. And that's what we're up to on the Nick Rakita Sonichu medallion case. Pretty bad stuff. If we had to rank the negative effects of the medallion from the wearers mentioned, I'd probably put Chris Chan as the worst, Nick second, then iDubbbz and Mudahar last. It's unclear why there is such a discrepancy between medal wearers, but one thing is for sure. I'm not touching that shit with a 10-foot pole. And that is all we have for the Sonichu Curse, but who knows? There are always new fools who want to tempt fate, so I doubt that this is the last we've heard of the medallion. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing, but other than that, thanks for watching, hope to see you in the next one. Bye.